Hey guys, I'm Jayce. Welcome back to part 3 of building the band for our post vise. This is about the most important part of this whole project because if it's not right, your hardware will not suck up in there nice and tight. I was having a little trouble finding what I needed because I operate on a bunch of scrap metal. But this is actually an old part of a wagon rim that I had laying around that had been cut off at one point. So I used that because it was the right length, and how cool is that, that a 100-year-old wagon rim is going on a 100-year-old vise. To get my measurement, and hopefully I didn't screw this up, is I put my hardware and my spring on there and measured the length, and then I added about a ½ inch, I think, just because it's gonna take a little extra steel to go around there. Next, I measured my width, and I put kind of a little V-notch in there with an angle grinder just to speed things up. And that's just so I have a nice line to fold. It's still plenty thick, so it shouldn't weaken it. Then I measured from here to where my hole started without my spring on there, because I want my hole to be a little off. So when I drive my wedge in, it pulls my bolt-on bracket up against there. So hopefully these measurements will work okay. Then I pre-drilled my holes for my slot punch just to keep me on the straight and narrow. So we'll punch those and then make our bend and see how close we are. I also might have to take just a tiny bit off because where this sits they have a notch in there to keep it from moving too much. And it's just a little wide, so I may have to take a little bit of that off, but that's later. And then we will forge our key and our wedge. you over. Okay, so I'm not really sure what happened with this stuff. It just split and came apart right there. I don't know if possibly it was an old forge weld that came apart. If I didn't know better, it acts like cast, but I know it's not because they pre-drilled it just to check it. I kind of knew I was in trouble when it started to split when I punched my holes. So one of the veterans out there that knows what went wrong can tell me what went wrong, because I would love to know. So we're starting over with a piece of new stuff. I had to rip this piece in half. I already punched my holes because you guys saw that already. Now we'll get back to it and bend it. bit. Alright, so this key is actually kind of a reversed wedge. I didn't get as much as I would like, but so when you drive it in, it just kind of fills that gap. I might have to cut a little bit off of this wedge and stuff when I get done, but I'd rather have it too tight than start all over. Alright, let's see how close we are. Have to file just a little more out of the back of my hole. Came up just a little bit short. Alright, so after filing out my band a little bit, everything fits a little better. It was just a little too tight. I might have to This'll test the forge weld. Alright, I got it extremely tight, so I'm just going to cut it off the angle grinder and round it up a little bit and put it back together. Alright, it's a lot of work on the wedge just to cut it off, but I'd rather have it too tight than too loose. So note to self, don't do it quite that tight again. I did grease this up a tiny bit, but I didn't want too much. It just makes a mess. Let's see. them that wide. Alright, I gotta heat my spring up just a little bit. Let it come in. It's just too tight because I got it too wide, so I'm just going to use the rosebud on the torch for that. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of forging this hardware. Next time I make it, I won't make it quite so tight, but this thing is on there, it's not coming off, which is nice. It's not fun when they get sloppy. The nice thing about this is, like within a year or two, you won't even hardly be able to tell that this isn't original parts, so that's pretty cool. I got my spring where I want it, so it's just a nice one-hand crank, so it's just nice and smooth. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you guys in the next one.